Hello and welcome to another Ask Nerida Joy video. I have a new model with me today. I'm so excited. My model's name is Kritika, and she is somebody that I work with. And I asked Kritika if she would be a model for me because I want to work on her skin. I want to work on the tone in her skin. And she also has a brown spot that she's a definite little brown spot here right on her cheek that I want to start to lighten for her. So with some things I'm going to be giving her for home care and with the treatment we're going to do today, we're going to lighten it up. But I really want to just sort of work on her tone. She's someone who hasn't done any Botox. She likes to go the very natural route. So we want to just really support and supply the skin as much nutrients as possible. We want to massage her skin a lot because we know massage is so great for muscle tone, and really just give the skin a good treatment, and then obviously give her her home care regimen so that she can take some products home to really support her skin. So so we're going to get started here. She has a really good skin. It's really hydrated her levels underneath, but we just want to work on the tone, keeping her skin strong and sturdy. So I'm going to cleanse off with the K cleanser. I'm going to start with that. She does have some little lashes on, so I'm going to be careful around her eyelashes so that we don't disturb those eyelashes. It's for us Esties out there, and I know you'll all be laughing when I say this. It's one of our pet peeves when people come in with their lashes on, and we have to be ever so careful in how we maneuver around the eyes with lashes, because often you can't use steam. And we just, to keep them really nice, you can't put pads over the eyes. And so it's for all of us Esties out there. You all know what I'm talking about. We just have to be a little bit more gentle around the eyes. So we're just like, oh no, lashes. Okay, we're just going to cleanse off. Kritika's wearing some makeup. So I'm going to do a couple of cleanses on her to make sure that we clean it off really well. Okay, my disposable sponges. I'm just going to take that first cleanse off here. I want to talk a little bit about prepping the skin, because what I find that people are doing is that when we have our kits, and every model that I have done on my YouTube channel, every model has a kit named after them. So if you are somebody that is looking at my YouTube channel and you see a model that you can identify, your skin looks very similar, and in watching the video, the things that I say about the skin, and you often get to see it very close up under a Maggie lamp even, you want to be able to choose your model that you can identify with, and that is generally the kit that is right for you, okay? But what happens is, because I use the Q-flavonoid a lot in my treatments here in my salon, a lot of people are buying the Q-flavonoid, and the Q-flavonoid is not in all my kits. In fact, it's not even in most of my kits in the beginning, because if you have an acnetic skin, you need to get the skin to a certain place before you can start working with the Q-flavonoid. So, with an acnetic skin, you want to, number one, you want to be able to dry up the oil a little bit. You want to be able to get the skin really clean, and you want it from stopping from breaking out so much. So there's certain steps that you have to do. Usually I say the Q-flavonoid is in stage number 2, which is about a month to 2 months after you start using the initial kit. So I just want you to understand that sometimes I do recommend it in the beginning, but generally, if you're wanting to get started on a good basic line, you've got to get your skin prepped and ready for the next step. So just so that you understand that the Q-flavonoid is not in all the kits, especially the kits for acne. It is in the kits for the drier, anybody who's wanting lightening and brightening of the skin if they have melasma, and it's really the stage 2 of once you've got scarring and pitting, that is where you can then go ahead and then start working with the flavonoid. So you calm down the ruddiness, you calm down the inflammation, and then you can go on to the Q flavonoid. So it's generally a month to 6 weeks after you first start using the kits. So I just wanted to point that out because it is a lot of people are asking for the Q flavonoid without sort of understanding that its purpose is not to dry up oil and it's not to dry up acne. But what it does do is it does help with scarring, and it does help with the residue of acne, and it helps support capillaries and certain things. So just, just understand that it's not something that is a priority in the beginning if you have an acnetic skin. So for somebody like Kritika that I'm working on right now, who is a drier skin, who has a brown spot over here, and you can see it now because she was covering it before with makeup, because she wears a really good coverage of makeup, which is great because that also protects the skin from the environment, and it also protects the skin from lighting. It's very, her skin is really good. And a lot of people say to me, well, it's not good to wear a lot of makeup though, is it, Nerida? And I say makeup is a protection. I wear foundation all the time on my skin too, and it really protects your skin. So if you look at Kritika's skin, Kritika is one of the few models that I have done that really has very little surface dryness. Her skin feels really good. She has really good hydration levels underneath, but what she's lacking is tone, and her skin, the coloring is a little bit flat, like she's a little blotchy. So we're not just talking about the brown spot here, but we're talking about just in general, she's a little blotchy. And so we're going to brighten all of that up for her. So we're going to do one more cleanse. I want to make sure her skin's really clean. She, like me, we're both working today. Today's Sunday. We're both hard at work, and now we're here filming late. So we both have makeup on. Mine's very shiny from my day. So Kritika's, as I said, her skin is really good, and makeup does protect your skin. If you look at the ladies that work behind the counters, like in Neiman Marcus and some of these other department stores, behind the makeup counters that wear a lot of makeup, if you look at their skin, you take off their makeup and you look at their skin underneath, their skin it's really healthy, and it's really protected because makeup protects your skin. So don't be afraid to wear makeup. Just make sure that the makeup that you're choosing are good makeups that are good for your skin and not comedogenic or not high in chemicals and irritants. So there are some makeups, and I'm a huge fan of the mineral makeups, and I talk about it a lot, and those mineral brands are Color Science, Jane Iredale, La Belladonna, Youngblood, Bare Minerals. These are true mineral makeup lines, and what that means is that you can sweat, you can put it on and go to the gym and work out and know that it's not clogging your pores, but it's healing your skin. So for people that have acne, I always recommend they get the mineral powders and use it as a cover-up and a spot treatment. There's no reason, if you don't want to be, walking around with pustules or scarring, you can cover it with mineral makeup, but it's not just the idea of covering it, it's very healing on the skin. So mineral makeup's amazing, and I'm such a huge advocate. I have so much of it myself, and I've used it for 30 years, a really long time. So it's terrific, and I highly recommend it. So Kritika wears a good amount of makeup, but it protects her skin. And as you can see, now that we've taken off her makeup, you can see she's being really good about covering up her brown spot, which is, obviously this is her driver's side as well. So she needs to be really good about covering it up. But we're going to work on lightening this brown spot here for her. And and she has a little one, a tiny, tiny little one on the other side of her face as well. So she's got the two of them. So we're going to work on really lightening up those brown spots there. Okay, we're going to remove this last cleanse, and I'm going to use warm towels. Okay, so we've cleansed Kritika's skin twice with a K cleanser. I'm going to put on the exfoliating mask, but I'm going to mix it with quite a bit of healing gel. I don't want it to be too strong on her skin, so I'm going to be doing some AHAs on her skin. So I don't want to set up a sensitive slate to start with, and her skin is really, she doesn't have a lot of dryness on top, so I don't need to use a really strong exfoliant on her. So we have the exfoliant. I've mixed it with healing gel on my hands. I'm now going to apply it, and again, it is has a buffing effect on the epidermis. It's what we call a surface regenerative type of exfoliant. It does not have the round granule particles in it, but it does have a buffing effect. So it's really nice on the skin. Exfoliants that have little granules are often, number one, irritating, and number two, they can be a little drying on the skin too. So they're nice to have, and occasionally I will use one that has little granules in it. But it is usually, I'll use it maybe on someone's around their nose or the chin area, and just on certain skins that might be sort of oily with no surface dehydration, but a little congested, and I'm not going to be doing a lot of extractions on them because maybe they're a young teenager and they can't take the pain of extractions. So I'm going to put the exfoliant on with the little granules, put the steam on, and just work it in just gently into their skin. Then that's often a really nice way to do a treatment on a teenager or someone who doesn't like extractions. Okay, so we've got the exfoliant on here. I'm only working it in for a few minutes. I don't like the exfoliating mask to dry tight on the skin, so we are going to take it off now. Just a couple of minutes on, and then now it's coming off. Okay, so this is cold water, and the sponge is quite cool, so we're going to be just removing the exfoliant now. So we've cleansed twice, exfoliated. Now I've got a little healing gel, and we're putting it on her skin. I'm going to start working in the Q flavonoid, and I'm going to use a retinol, but I'm going to use the complex on her, which is a retinol complex. So it's a cream, and it's not the serum. We're going to work that into her skin. Okay, so what I have in my hand is I have a little bit of the Q flavonoid and it's called the A nitrile, which is a complex of vitamin A. So that means it has your A1, your A2, your acetate, your palmitate, your retinoic acid, and it is, and I'm going to work it in the skin. And this is what I'm going to massage her skin with. I'm going to be putting an eye cream around her eyes, and then we're going to use some of the massage cream, which is the hydrating mask is the one I use for my massage cream because I like it so much. It's so hydrating and it's so wonderful. So I'm going to do a really good massage on Kritika's face. I want to be able to just work and stimulate her muscle tone. So we're going to do a really good massage on her face. So I'm just putting a little bit of eye cream around Kritika's eyes. And this is the massage cream. We're just going to massage this into her skin, and I just want to give her a really good massage too. I did notice as I'm working on Kritika's arms, as I'm going down onto the arm areas, that she has KP on her arms, keratosis pilaris. She's got those tiny little bumps. So what that is a sensitivity to sugar. So I will have a chat with her a little bit later just about, sometimes it just means that it's not anything terribly concerning other than it's just a sensitivity to sugar. So sometimes people that have it, they might be a little bit borderline hypoglycemic and crave sweets. And so it's just important to not do overkill with the sugar when you have KP because it makes it worse. And if you sort of are really good about not having sugar, you will find it will get better. There's no cure for it. It's not going to go on its own. unless you really cut the sugar out. So you can use an exfoliant, you know, one that has a buffing effect like we use on the face. That will often help the KP on the arms as well. But even a doctor will tell you just to use a loofah or a scrub, and that's pretty much it. An AHA product too, anything that's going to sort of eat away at the dead cells, is also really nice to use. So what do we know about why is massage so important for the skin? Is it stimulates muscle tone, but it also really helps to move the lymphatic system, and it's especially important to have body massages and just to keep everything moving, because as I used to love what Wayne Dyer would say, Dr. Wayne Dyer, he'd always say that, you know, because our bodies are made of more than 70% water, of course as we get older that decreases slightly, but our bodies are made of more 70 to 80% water, and while ever a stream is moving, it stays clean. But when a stream is still, like a dam, the water gets muddy and it gets rancid, you know, it's dirty. So, and it's the same as the body. That's why movement, when you're walking, swinging your arms and just really pushing the backward motions with your arms, movement and drinking, you know, drinking water, because it's constantly flushing, and massaging, it moves things around and it keeps things clean and healthy. So I'm a huge advocate of body massages. I have them regularly myself, and obviously facial massage. It just really helps to keep everything moving. And people that have regular massages and regular facials with lots of facial massage, their skin is really good. It just has a glow that's, you know, different if you're not doing it. So it makes a difference to the skin, and it supports it. It helps, brings oxygen to the blood. It stimulates, as I said, it stimulates muscle tone. So it really helps keep the skin strong. It's really important. And nowadays, because with filler, because of Botox, it creates so much stillness in that it's paralyzing muscles. So it's not, you don't have that animation, that movement in the face. Then the skin, it gets very sluggish and it gets flat in color. So it's really important to keep the movement, keep it going. The same with Botox, of course, it's one that, you know, it creates stillness, but there are other fillers that are great, you know, of course in moderation, but, you know, sometimes there is a price we pay for certain things that may not necessarily be healthier in other areas. So we just want to, I think there's some fillers that they say, especially with the fat where they take it from one area of your body and they inject it into another area. They don't like to even have that massage because it will dissipate. So a lot of the time people that have the fat transfers, the doctors will say don't massage it, you know, don't, because it's going to dissipate. So occasionally some people, when they've come to see me, they have said, don't massage my skin too long, you know, it's going to get rid of my fat. And so it's of course it's just not necessarily not necessarily a great thing, but of course, you know, to each their own. And I'm a big believer in massaging, and I think if you're not massaging an area, then it's not as healthy as if you were massaging it. So I know from my own personal experience, I have regular body massages every week and sometimes two, and for me it is very, very important, and I can really feel and see the benefits of it. So I'm a huge advocate of massage. So I'm just going to remove the excess now because I'm going to be doing a fruit complex on Kritika's skin. Okay, so we've massaged in some treatment serums and treatment products into her skin. I'm going to put some goggles on. I'm going to bring the light over, have a look at her skin, see if we need to do any extractions. Her skin looks really, really clean, so I don't know that we'll have to do that, but we are going to have a look. So she has very little. She's got a few little blackheads on her nose, so I'm just going to grab those smaller ones there. We've got her darker spot down here on the side, and we're going to work on treating that too. So we're going to be doing just a minimal amount of extractions here. Okay, so I had a look through the Maggie lamp with the goggles on Kritika. We had a look at her skin. She had next to no extractions, just a few little ones around her nose, and on the side here, a little tiny bit on the chin. It took me less than a minute to extract. And so we got rid of just those few little blackheads there. And now I'm just using the tonic on her skin, and we are just going over it there just to get any excess off, so that I can then now put on the fruit complex. Now what I'm going to be doing here, I've got the fruit complex number 1. It is a complex of the alpha hydroxy acids, the glycolic, lactic, malic, tartaric and citrus. I'm going to be putting this on her skin. She's going to feel a little bit of stinging with it, a little bit of tingling. It's in a lipoceutical vehicle that is not too irritating on the surface, so if she feels it won't be that much. And it's really great because of the carrier it is within. It does get down deeper and lesser irritation on the surface. So it isn't something that makes the skin really red, and it almost feels a little bit oily too when you're putting it on. It has a really nice carrier to stop surface irritation. So what we're going to do is we're putting it all over Kritika's face, and then I'm going to go back with a slightly stronger AHA, the fruit complex number 2, and we're going to do a little bit stronger on her brown spots. And what you do, once you've cleaned the pore, you want to make sure that you do the fruit complex, that you're really sort of getting in there, because that's what's going to shrink the pore. Once you've cleaned it out, you can shrink it by using an alpha hydroxy acid, and that is what the fruit complex number 1 is. Okay, so we've put 1 coat of the fruit complex number 1 on Kritika's skin. I'm going to get the fruit complex number 2 now, and we are going to be putting it just on the spots. Okay, so I have my fruit complex number 2, and what I'm going to do is we're going to just put it on the brown spots here now. Because it's a smaller round spot, I'm going to be using a Q-tip. I will not be double dipping, but we will be putting the number 2 on these areas here. And just 1 application is sufficient. And then I'll be taking it off with cool water. So we've left the fruit complex number 1 and number 2 an extra coating on the brown spots themselves. We've left it on a couple of minutes, and now I'm going to take it off with cool water on my sponges. Putting some healing gel on the skin, and then we're putting the mask on. Now the mask I'm using on Kritika is the firming mask. It has a little bit of retinol in it, and it's a great mask. It is definitely a lightening and brightening treatment, but it's also a really nice firming mask. It's a little bit yellow in color, and that's because it has a little bit of retinol in it. Now if I was doing a 90-minute facial, I would leave this mask on for 10 minutes, then take it off, and then I would go ahead and do the Pearl Silk mask on Kritika's skin. The Pearl Silk is also a brightening mask. It's another mask that stays on for 20-25 minutes, and it's a really nice mask to do. Also, as I said, a brightening mask. But sometimes I love the different masks, and I love layering, and I love working with different masks, especially masks that are not too drying and ones that are really feeding the skin and nurturing the skin. So again, as I always say, that everything that I do has a purpose, and that there's a reason as to why I'm doing it. So the pearl silk mask, again, is another mask that would be feeding the skin, and just another great brightener. But as we're doing a 60-minute facial, then her mask is going to be the firming mask that is still a brightener, but as I said, I'm not going to let it dry on her skin. I'll leave this one on for about 8 minutes, and then we'll be taking it off. And we want to take it down onto the neck area, because the neck area gets very grey and dark in colour often. So it's an area that you don't want to forget about. I always tell people, sort of put your head back when you're putting on your treatment products at night and really work your treatment products into your neck. So we're going to leave this on Kritika's skin. I'm going to add a little bit more of the mask on those brown spots. There we go. So you can see there's a big blob on that brown spot and another one on the other side. So we're going to leave that on Kritika's skin for 8 minutes, and we'll be back to take it off. Hello, well, we've left Kritika's mask on about 8 minutes, and now I'm taking it off with my disposable sponges and a little warm water. I had a little left in my container, so I ended up putting it sort of further down onto her neck area. As I said, it's often an area that gets a little grey, and it's also an area that we often forget about to nourish and to put treatment products on. So I've gone ahead and just sort of extended a little bit off camera, so but her neck will look much better, and her décolleté now as a result of that. Okay, so we've still just got a little bit of residue on there. I'm just going to get some warm towels and take the residue off with that. So we've removed the firming mask. It has a little bit of retinol in it on Kritika's skin. Her skin looks really pretty. It looks brighter, and I think her brown spots are a little bit lighter. Probably looking at it here, it looks maybe almost 20% lighter than when we started. And it's important that she have the declearing gel to go home with that to continue to use on her brown spot. The declearing gel is a product that has the arbutin in it. It has also a little bit of retinol in it, and it is a product that works especially on brown spots. So nothing can go on under it, and nothing can go on over it. It must stay on the skin for 6 to 8 hours alone, and so it's usually best worn at night time. So that, but you don't put any cream over it, and you don't put anything on under it, okay? So she's going to be continuing that at home, and I'm going to ask Kritika to send us weekly updates on her skin, so we can see how her skin is brightening and just how much stronger and how much better it is looking over the time until we see her again next time, which will be roughly in a month. And so right now I'm going to put a little bit of the whitening toner on the skin, and I really like the whitening toner. It's a great product. I like to just sort of work it into the skin a little bit. It does have some of the vitamin C in it, and vitamin C in Kritika's case is going to be an important part of her daily regimen, because it's going to help add as an extra sun filter for her too, and a brightener, and of course it's a free radical fighter, and it's really good for her. So we're going to put that on, and then we're going to be putting on a little bit of retinol, and she's going to be going home right now. So I have a little bit of retinol here. We're going to be putting that on her skin, and she's going to be, as I said, going home and leaving this on for the rest of the evening. I'm putting this down onto her neck and onto her décolleté as well. It is not going to be something that I recommend that she use every single night on her neck and her décolleté, but as a boost to that area, it's certainly nice to do a couple of times a week. I'm going to be putting a little bit of eye cream around Kritika's eyes. So Kritika's all done. It has been a lot of fun tonight working on Kritika. I'm going to be able to keep an eye on her and watch her updates too at work. And thank you for Kritika for coming and being here with us. Thank you for watching, and we will be back to see you all again soon. Bye bye.